For our next speaker, the title of this presentation is the Service Delivery using ITIL Foundation. Presenting Ms. Pia Hamoy, IT Senior Delivery Manager. She has extensive end-to-end IT delivery experience across the applications, lifecycle, and enterprise SAP, mobile, bespoke, transformation to cloud, and big data applications and services, with focus on consumer goods, manufacturing, banking, and Singapore public sector in Asia and America. She is a believer in strategies driving transformation to meet the eventual business results, agile and flexible to align with business needs, and to analyze the proposed solutions in a collaborative and communicative manner with strong initiatives and follow-through and an openness to continuous innovations. Without further ado, please welcome Ms. Pia Hamoy. Alright, before, habang po nagpe-prepare siya, may concern lang po, pwede ko daw po bang i-share yung ating attendance sheet sa mga participants? Directory. Okay. So, nag-a-agree po tayong lahat na ipamimigay po. Nandun po yung information nyo, including mobile numbers. Yes? Okay. Soft copy po, sir. PDF. Ano po, yung PDF na lang po, yung registration nyo po. Yes po. Hindi naman po yung attendant, yung may perma nyo. Yung directory po mismo. Okay. Sige. So, lahat na po nakapag-check out na. Okay na. Settled na tayo. Alright. Pagkatapos po nitong service delivery, meron po tayong planning. So, mahalaga po na mag-stay po tayo kasi meron tayong group activities.
Alright. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Pia and hopefully naririnig po ako sa likod. Okay. Sige. So, I was dying inside kasi sorry, nag-look ko lang konti yung presentation. But I'm ready to start. Okay? So, gandang hapon. It's a privilege for me to stand in front of you giving back to government. So, as Pabs mentioned, same as him, I'm also a product of the, well, at least the public school system. So, sa DOST po, yung organization, nakinabang din po ako sa DOST scholarships mula nung high school. So to me, doing this today is a big deal for me kasi maraming salamat po sa servisyo. So last day na po and sabi nga nila kanina, last lecture na daw or last overview. Okay? So excited na po ba lahat umuwi? Hindi pa? Sige. So, taas po yung kanang kamay. Sino na yung excited umuwi, makita yung pamilya, makanood ng teleserye? Hindi, joke. Okay, taas po yung kanang kamay para makita natin. Ayan. Ngayon, gawin nyo po, yung nasa kanan nyo, tapikin nyo po ng balikat yung nasa kanan at sabihin, ilang oras na lang, uwi na tayo. Okay. Sino naman ang excited mag-office bukas para lahat ng natutunan in the last 3 days ay malagay? Taas ang kaliwang kamay. O yan. Wala. O yan, si ma'am. Okay, isa lang. Okay, so tapikin nyo po yung balikat nung nasa tabi ninyo sa kaliwa. O ma'am. Excited po ma'am. Sabihin nyo po, good luck. Okay? So, after talking about architecture, how to do the projects, how to make it really UI friendly, how to make sure your data is secure, how to make sure that you have almost practically the same set, same source of data. Today po, I'm talking about the IT services, and this is where a lot of us are in, and it's a question of how well do we want to execute our IT services. Okay? Okay. So lahat po tayo nasa service organization. Okay? So I will talk about IT service management. How do we give out our IT services? I'll talk about ITIL, which is essentially one of the better frameworks to do IT service management. Of course, maraming ways gawin yung IT service management. How you do your current pagpapalakad sa IT department is IT service management, diba? So it's just a question of learning from the best, and preferably we look at the successful best practices that we've seen in the IT industry, as well as in other countries, as well as where other government agencies have been able to do so. Talk about some of the challenges. Hindi madali lagi gumawa ng best practice. I'll talk about some extra best practices that minsan nakakalimutan, pero actually they would help you along the way. And then I'll talk about putting it all together for the topic that we talked about in the last 3 days. Okay? If you have questions, kung nagtaas kayo ng kaliwang kamay, sige. Pero kung hindi kayo nagtaas ng kaliwang kamay, any questions, okay. Let's check on time. If not, I'll entertain them at the end of this. Okay? Alright. So on the screen, is any of the IT departments and the agencies planning to pursue ISO 20000? It's the service management system. Okay, isipin na lang natin na ano siya. It's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Parang kailangan umulan para makarating tayo doon. Okay? So, who has ISO 9001? Ayun na lang. Kaninong agency ang may ISO 9001? Whichever version, basta meron. Okay? So that is saying, di ba, you have an idea of what rigor and what processes, what kind of system you can have in place. And ISO 9001 is essentially the quality management. So, quality management, kahit sa manufacturing companies where I came from, meron din sila nun. Kaya lang, the question is, if you were IT, minsan, baka may iba doon, hindi kasing applicable. So, ang ginawa ng ISO, nilagay na yung 20,000 so that in the execution of IT services, you can have your agency or your department essentially ISO certified as well in this regard. Okay? So, yun yung intent, yun yung goal, especially for IT service provider types of organizations. So, when you look at the big names in the industry na IT service provider, usually, for us and for the government, when you procure their services, it's always a good idea to make sure na kahit ito or CMMI or at least those standards na susunod nila. Okay? I'm not sure if you're able to see it at the back, but take note of each of the icons and each of the processes that are involved here. Okay? And they will have to look familiar because you'll be seeing them on and on in the next several slides. Because when I'll start talking about ITIL as the best practice for IT service management, you'll see all of these being repeated over and over again. So what's that saying? Yung IT service management ng ITIL, yung best practice niya, lines up with ISO 20K. So think about it, na nagko-complement, di ba, yung ITIL para sa journey papuntang ISO. Okay. So ITIL on its own, it's as individuals, you can actually get certified as an employee. And like myself, I also got myself certified along the way. Medyo maraming exams, pero it's very individual. So, ang mangyayari, think about your organization. It's better if you get an ISO type of certification because, one, it's industry standard, and two, kahit nagsialisan na yung mga tao, nag-retire for some reason ng ibang bansa or just moved on to a different role, the certification still remains, right? But the slide does not. Wait lang. Ayun. Okay. The certification remains with the organization and the processes remain. And kahit magpalit ng magdagdag ng tao, it will always be there because they will be properly documented. Kung magiging alam ng mga tao, it didn't go away. Okay? So, think of this as the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and then we'll talk about how exactly can you get there in terms of, the solid best practice steps. Okay? Alright. So with ISO 20,000, you might ask, sige, maybe the HPs, the Accentures, the IBMs, they would have done it kasi it is expected because they're IT service providers. So the question is, in government agencies, pwede namang hindi kasi may ISO 9,000 or, you have other priorities to do anyway. But the challenge, think of it that, for example, in Dubai, the local government units of Dubai, actually, naka-ISO 20,000 yung kanilang IT department. Sa Kuwait, nagulat din ako, yung customs ng Kuwait, assuming may mga pumapasok na goods sa customs ng Kuwait at lumalabas, they are also, in fact, ISO 20,000 certified, yung organization na yan. In Hong Kong, the Housing Authority of Hong Kong, so yung IT nila, is also ISO 20,000 certified. So think about it that it is possible and it is doable, and it's a very good way also for an agency to achieve a industry competitive world-class standard in terms of delivering IT services. Okay? All right. So when we had the last 3 days, what we kept on talking about was, ask the client what they want, what's the business need, what's the value. So palaging umiinog doon yung all the things that we learned in the last 3 days. Diba? The word value, the word customer, the word business need was always there. So whether you're talking about COVID, the enterprise architecture with open group, talk about PMI kanina, talk about ITIL in the next few minutes. It's all and even with org change management, it's always with the business need in mind. Hindi lang yung anong gusto mangyari ng IT, but it's more of what exactly are we serving or doing the service for. Okay? So in an organization, IT-wise, ideally, kung ano yung mission, vision, kung ano yung big development plan, big master plan that the agency will have, or for that matter, what the government will have, ideally, nagla-line up doon yung IT services. From an outsider's perspective, kasi I am a user of a lot of the online government services, I find na ideally, dapat papunta tayo dito. And lastly, as always, there's always continual improvement. Bakit? Because we have to get better at it. Diba? And there's a whole lot, I think, that we can get better about it. All right. All right. So, in any IT department, as I understand it, meron naman tayong pamamalakad, things that we follow, in-house procedures. This is how we do development. This is how we will do coding, standards. Tama ba? May ganun pa ba? Or may ganun ba? Meron, di ba? Dapat meron. Or at least, we follow good practices in how we do code. We follow good practices in how we issue out email addresses to everyone. So, may ganon. And then on top of that, I'll talk about ITIL on how what you have now and what best practices there are in the industry. When you put them all together and line them up, you're actually going to be heading towards, eventually, an ISO 20,000 kind of standard already. Okay? It's not saying you're gonna be automatically certified. It's just saying you will be there in terms of standards. Pag isa-isa, you build on and reapply the best practices. Okay. However, when we do these best practices, the question always is gonna come back to your customers, yung users, or yung mamamayan like, all of us na gumagamit ng online services. Okay? So, for example, yung NGP, so, to be honest, ngayon ko lang siya narinig na may one-stop portal. I've been seeing it in other government, other countries' portals, pero ngayon ko lang siya nakita the other day. And I like it. I I liked it because modern yung design. If you've seen how Airbnb looks like, yung UI niya, diba yung mga big buttons na may magagandang ganyan, mga magagandang icon pictures, ganyan. To me, that's very user-friendly kasi. So sabi ko, uy, okay ah. Tapos nandun na halos lahat ng kailangan, SSS, NBI, passport, pag-ibig, and so on. So I thought, uy, okay, the customer experience, ito, right, is already being leveled up or improved on. It's a step forward, diba? It's a start, but at least providing value, providing the customer what they need, the mamamayans, the people what they need, is one step up with optimizing the customer experience. Showing value for money, data centers. Aling agency may sariling data center sa office? Yung biglang maraming mga desktop na server na pala. Marami, di ba? It's several. And then I spoke to Jason the other day, and what he says is, DICT is building, di ba? Parang essentially a centralized data center already. One in this Metro Manila area and one is in the province. But the intent is merong ganon. And think about it, the value for money, di ba? Is the money spent on maintaining these servers in your own office, the security pa of it, the aircon, the power, and so on, versus kinda like your parang in-outsource nyo essentially to DICT. You can check on value for money and make better use of the resources that you have instead of paying for the nice big space that you use just for the boxes. Something to think about. The other one that I keep on challenging is, what about putting it up on the cloud? And you guys will tell me it's not secure and all of that. But it's still a question, diba? When you put it up to cloud. And the question is, what kind of value for money are you going to show with the service that people see? Diba? At the end of the day, think of these 6 items as what you have to keep in mind when you try to provide IT services. Oh. Ayaw talaga niya yan, hindi yan magandang IT service. Wait lang. Okay. Right? So there's always a balance. Lalo na, like ako, I like to think I'm geeky at heart. So, parang pag may bagong technology, gusto siyang basahin, gusto ko siyang itry, may bagong website, may bagong app, I want to try it always. So, but remember that if we are in the service of the government, the question is, are we talking about IT services, or do we just do the technology because it's the new hot thing, or it's the sikat thing, diba? Oh, let's do big data na, tapos yun pala, hindi pa ayos yung master data. It won't work, diba? So it's just a balance of what kind of services are you providing, and for that matter, is it what the client wants? Or are you just saying, hindi, high-tech to kasi may virtual reality, whatever na, para makita mo yung DOT, parang 3D yung Boracay, ganun, diba? So it's just a question of which balance you want. Stability versus responsiveness. It's all about your organization, diba? How do you want to retain as is, or do you want to be so responsive and in fact so reactive? Pag tinawag ng user, oy, punta ka dito kasi pakiayos yung PC, is that what you will do? Or is it more that, sige, pakilog yung ticket and we'll go through the ticket handling process that we have documented? Okay. Quality versus cost of service. If you get a vendor kasi according to maybe procurement, it is the cheapest, then but met the criteria, then it's a question of quality versus cost of service. Diba? But if you get a big-time vendor, tapos una mong sasabihin, ay, ang mahal. But then again, that vendor already has the right case studies and success stories and the right certifications behind it. Kaya, nagkaroon ng better quality. Yun lang. It's a question of cost. So, think of it, in IT, we're always doing this balancing act. It's very challenging to do it actually. And lalo na parang meron pang nangungulit sa'yo na kailangan matapos na code, or get the program done, or get the project done, or get the reports done. Pero you still have to balance all of these. At the end of the day, it's still about making sure that your client, your customer recognizes the value that you are able to provide. Alright, who uses ITIL? Obviously, a lot of the logos are familiar, I hope. Meron bang hindi familiar na logo? Okay naman. Wala pa namang Sanofi. Hindi, joke. Yun. Hindi kasi nag-ITIL yung Sanofi. Joke. Kaya ganun. Hindi. I think most of them are familiar. What I would like to point out, though, are a couple other government agencies that went with ITIL. So, NASA, diba, to be able to get those space rockets out there, there was ITIL in place for that. Yung Ministry of Defense of the United Kingdom, they are actually also implementing ITIL, and they have done it for a couple of decades already, actually. Okay? Yung National Health Service ng UK, they've also done ITIL already. So think about, medyo meron talagang legitimate way of being able to execute it in government. Canadian government as a whole, they did a transformation. Nagkaroon sila ng shared services. So it's like lahat ng back-end office, regardless of whether it's in tourism, agriculture, and so on, isa lang. Lahat ng finance, lahat ng procurement. So it's what you see the corporate companies are doing. Pero Canada, they did it on a government scale. And they did this in 2004. So medyo matagal na, diba? But the point is, in their IT shared service, minandate nila as a country, as a government, top-down, just as was said earlier in org change management at PMP, important yung top-down support. The government essentially said, this is the standard that we will follow when we do shared service. So these logos, most of them I know were also using the same principle that top-down also has to happen, and a lot of government support has to happen. Okay. So kung kaya nilang gawin, dapat kaya din natin gawin. Yeah? These governments, they've been able to do that. Okay. Who has been to SM? Schumart? Dun sa grocery. Lahat naman siguro. Sa Save More, Sa Save More, yung SM talaga na grocery. And then, pag break time, about 30 minutes every hour, you'll see all these bunch of hilera ng mga salespersons nila nakahera, and then they'll start doing this little dance. Have you guys seen that? Ano yung sinasabi nila?
Happy to serve you.
Happy to. Basta may ganun, diba? Hindi ko nagagawin. Basta alam niyo na. So, at your service, yung narinig ko sa Mega Mall, at your service, or happy to serve. But the point is, what service is that exactly? Diba? The point lang of it being a good service, and that's why we call it IT service management, is if the customer, the user, finds value in the service you do, then yes, it's a good service that you are doing. Okay? The other thing to note, when it is a good service, alam mo yung hindi napapansin ng customer gaano kahirap mo pinaghirapan para mabigay yung service na yun. Case in point, I guess, when some of you do programs, tapos ang ganda, feeling mo ang ganda-ganda, hindi ka natulog, pinaghirapan mo, tapos sasabihin lang ng user, oy, okay, tapos na, diba? Tapos, dali, ayusin na natin, gamitin natin. It's kind of medyo unappreciated. But the point of a service is the value is there, that the user recognizes the value. Hindi lang ikaw, because you know how hard you did it, but also them. So it's a set of processes, functions, workflows, and competencies put together, regardless of how hard you work for it behind the scenes. Yeah? It's an example. An easy example, alam mo yung when you fly and then you take Philippine Airlines or Cebu Pacific or any airline, tapos yung mga stewardesses, flight attendants, ayan, politically correct. Flight attendants, di ba kahit gumagano na yung plane, kailangan nakangiti pa rin sila, tapos yung mga babae, naka-heels, tapos kailangan hindi sila madulas, tapos alam mo namang pag gumagano yung plane, lahat tayo medyo mapaparaling kasi gumagano na yung plane, tapos sila kailangan carry lang, parang, sir, ganyan-ganyan, or ma'am, would you like coffee? Di ba ganun lagi? So parang, that service, they address your business need because you said, kasi kailangan mo na nung kape kasi merienda time na nung that merienda portion of taking the flight. But behind the scene, di ba, kailangan nakakiti sila, sakit na yung paa nila, nanginginig na rin sila kasi gumagano na yung plane. So to me, that's saying that, appreciate that kind of service because you find value. And then that's when you really have you're able to say it's a good service. It's not just providing a service for IT's sake. Huh? Either that or uwi na tayo. And then. Oh. Alright. Okay, so ITIL, this logo, it will recur. You'll see this, medyo madilim yun sa taas. You'll see this recurring when you talk about ITIL. And if you read the program blurb, this one, yung nasa likod, I think the one thing that caught my attention was it's a 5-volume publication. Diba? Parang nakaantok agad. So, why is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So, those are the 5 concepts, 5 functions, 5 areas of ITIL that we will tackle. And bear in mind, as I talk through the terms, as I show you this video, that they will start mentioning this. Kasi parang it's a bit overwhelming na it's 5 big core concepts. And then later, you'll find out there's 26 processes that you go through in ITIL. So medyo nakakalula siya. So what I wanted to do was make it a little bit more easier by showing you this video. Keep in mind what it says in the video as we go through the details of this. Okay ba yun? Okay. Teka lang. Oh, so, naintindihan niyo siya? Ako hindi. Wait lang.
Ay, gusto na. Say that.
2 minutes. Lipat ko lang ng PP. Sige, while waiting, questions before I go on. And thank you to G she's going around and she's distributing yung overall ITIL core components and processes in 1 mega workflow. Okay? So, pag uwi niyo sa office, pakipin yan sa wall bukas. Lahat ng pinag-usapan with Pabs, with Francis the other day, nandyan siya, mababasa niyo siya.
Hello, welcome to...
Yan. Maunahan tayo ng boses
Let
niya.
us pray.
Hello, welcome to a quick briefing on what is ITIL.
Let us pray.
Hello, welcome to a quick briefing on...
Magpapatulong na ako.
on what is ITIL. many of us would have come across this term ITIL. But do we really understand what is ITIL? ITIL stands for Information Technology Infrastructure Library. Have you ever wondered why it is called as a library? Any guesses? It is called as a library because it is a set of books. Some call it a set of publications. The various books of ITIL are: 1. Service Strategy. 2. Service Design. 3. Service Transition. 4. Service Operations. 5. Continual Service Improvement. Now we know that ITIL has 5 publications. We will try to explain these publications using a simple example. Let us take an example of constructing a house for briefing on the 5 publications of ITIL. I want to build a new house. This is my service strategy. Your thought, what you want to achieve, are all your strategical decisions. In an IT organization, the vision and mission of an organization is their strategy. How to achieve the goal is all strategical decisions. An example could be, Organization ABC wants to be listed among the Fortune 500 companies by 2020. What is service design? In our example, the house plan or blueprint will be our service design. This phase talks about money to build a house, availability of land, timelines of completion, suppliers providing raw materials for construction, and so on. Service transition. This phase is more about project management. In our example, the builder would be project manager, and we, funding money for construction, would be sponsor. The key components are builder, who has the knowledge on building house. There is change by constructing a new building, maintain all required assets, plan construction duration and provide support as appropriate, completion of house construction, which is release management, and finally evaluate the construction efficiency. Service operation. Service operation talks about day-to-day operations, which in our example would be buying household articles and living in your house. This phase is where most people are familiar with incident, problem, event, service, request and access management. Oh no, the kitchen is on fire. This is an incident. I don't know what to do.
Not to worry. I know what to do. We can call 911 for emergency. They will be able to help us out.
All your day in and day out activities fall under service operations. In IT, handling all tickets, monitoring the environment, restoring incident, all fall under service operation. Continual service improvement. Be clear with the term continual and not continuous. Continual means stepwise improvement. We improve process efficiency stepwise. This is a step-by-step improvement as opposed to continuous improvement, where the end goal is achieved in a single instance. The household articles that we upgrade as and when there is a new technology release, new features, more user-friendly interface, are all continual improvements. I hope we were able to provide you with information that could help associate the publications of ITIL with real-life examples.
Alright, so medyo at least one step up na ba yung alam natin in terms of what IT service management is about and what those 5 core components are and how they interact. At least in this example, paggawa ng bahay. Diba? So think of it, creating your IT service management, the whole structure is like creating a house. Diba? First, what was the business need? What was the vision? Who is it for to begin with? Second is design. Right. Second is design, meaning We want to make sure it's cost-effective, it's efficient, and it's effective in terms of paano nyo siya dinesign. Third is transition. Normally, people think transition is saglit lang. In fact, transition is what you might call yung IT project space. So some of us work in IT support, some of us work in IT project space. So when you talk about putting in IT projects in the context of an overall service, yung pagpasok sa kanya, paggawa sa kanya, at paglagay sa kanya sa production, that's all in, and it's all in transition. Service operation, as I said, yung pang-araw-araw, yung may tatawag, may issue. Nag-fail yung backup, may issue. May nag-request ng bagong BI report or, management report na kailangan sa ERP kunin. That's also part of service operation. Continual service improvement. Again, emphasis on continual, not continuous. Hindi one time, big time ang improvement. It's a patuloy na cycle. Keep on doing it. That's why the diagram keeps going around, because you keep on cycling back to what was the strategy to begin with, what was the business need to begin with. Okay? So, keep that analogy in mind so that at least the terms become more familiar and you go about 1, 2, 3, all these 5 core components of doing IT service management. Some days, to my mind, when I was reviewing this whole thing again, I thought it was a bit overwhelming actually. So why? So imagine, diba, there's 5 books or there's 5 key components, and then overall there's 26 different processes that you have to think about if you want to do the whole thing. Okay? So, ang akin was, wow, ang dami. Parang, may pang-araw-araw na work pa. How will you be able to squeeze that in for that matter? Do you have to bring in a whole bunch of expensive consultants again? Okay? So what I'll do, think of it as, isip ko, it's like one big elephant. Alam niyo yung question na, how do you eat an elephant? Diba? So anyway, it's a question na, sa laki niya, paano mo kakainin, and how will you slice and dice so that at some point, it becomes easier to digest. So I started by giving you the analogy, and then next now, I'll go through each of the processes that are part of these 5 core components, and then dahan-dahan, think about your current situation. Because when I go through this, malamang some of these you are already doing. Iba lang yung tawag ninyo, or it's something that you've done in the past and it's working successfully. Okay? So hopefully, this ITIL thing, it's nothing new. It's nothing rocket science. In fact, a lot of it makes sense kasi it was the right thing to do. Kasi nga, kaya siya best practice. Okay? Alright, so, I apologize kung merong colorblind, but just look at the colors because it helps when I go through the diagram. Okay? So at the core of it, ITIL as the best set of best practices, and I begin with service strategy. In the diagram, the one that you have on your desk, the big A3 one, the processes are the ones in the yellow boxes. Hindi lang siya pinakita in a cyclic manner, but you see where they will be applied. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when you talk about service strategy. Okay? They talked about it in OCM or change management. They talked about it in PMI, and they talked about it in COVID and the others the other day. Alam niyo yung value of communicate, and keeping your users informed, keeping your stakeholders informed, keeping your secretary, your ASEC, your USEC, and your department manager informed. That is business relationship management. It's keeping in touch with them na, uy, start na ng taon. Ano na yung plano natin sa budget? What are the business needs? Para, as mentioned kanina ni Sir na naka-yellow sa likod, sinabi niya na that cascade has to happen. And that is what business relationship management is about. And think about it, diba? Minsan, pag friends nyo yung iba sa ibang department, some things happen easier. Okay? So, there's a whole science to it. There's a whole management practice to business relationship management. But so ITIL picks up that part as well. So it's nothing new. It's just about communicating and networking properly. Service portfolio management is what are the services that you will provide to your users, so internal IT, and what are the e-gov services you will provide to sa regular people, normal people, yung mga mamamayan, people outside, the public essentially. Okay? So what are these services? And you think about it, not in terms of, I will provide a super dome kasi it will do the ERP for me or the big data for me. Hindi siya ganon. Think of it as a total service. I will do procure to pay. It's an entire cycle of service and all the systems underneath supporting it all the way to infrastructure. So think about what services your team will offer. So for example, yung sa DICT, they said, we will offer the NGP, we will offer the portal, and if you think about it, they offer it as an interactive online thing as opposed to, we will offer this nice website. Hindi ganun yung positioning, diba? So, service portfolio management is about what the entire service, not by server, not by software, not by email address. It's an entire service as it. Okay? Demand management is, do you know who does more of the infrastructure IT work here? Wala? Hardware. Ayan. Nag-handle ng servers, backups, email, telephony, IP, ano pa? Ayan. Do you keep track, for example, demand management, do you keep track ano yung peak time na usage ng email, ng Facebook, ng email, ng the applications that are being used, kailan mas maraming background jobs tumatakbo or pinapaschedule. So that's demand management because you have to know how to plan against kailan yung surges para your capacity, your availability will all line up together. Okay? So think about knowing the demands kasi from there, you can use it as enough data to tell your client, look, at every time people come back after a long weekend, maraming tumatawag sa help desk, nagpapareset ng password kasi nalimutan. And that's true. Kahit sa corporate, that happens. So, it's something to think about in terms of knowing what your demands are. And then you can prepare ahead in terms of how you want your service to be executed. Financial management, hindi lang ito yung properly na TOR or na PO yung services. It's the budget. So the budget is provided. It's accounting for the budget, and as I understand it, down to the last centavo. And the third thing that a lot of IT organizations should be aware of is charging. Do you know how much the cost is for you, for example, to respond to every incident that you guys address in your IT department? Example, in call centers in the US, it costs them between $3 to $15 for every call that they pick up on first level help desk. So, bakit wide yung range? Kasi minsan hindi efficient yung IT and so on. But the point is, that's a metric you have to keep in mind because it's good if you know where the budget is going to para kaya nyong balikan na this is how much this service is costing. Do you really want this service to be retained and continued kahit isang tao lang yung gumagamit and hindi naman talaga ganun ka-critical. So think about financial management that way. And the question is in your IT, in the services you provide, whether it's email or the BI reports, for example, are you planning to charge per report, for example? Think about it that way kasi that allows you to level up, providing value for money. Okay? Questions on service strategy. So, think about it, hindi man siya masyadong rocket science in terms of, bago siya na concept. It's just that it's putting them all together. Oh, sobra na. Ay. Okay. For service design, the first thing I mentioned earlier was business relationship management. This is network, and communicate. Same thing here. Design coordination. Kailangan merong nakikipag-usap sa across agencies, across departments to get the design right so that all these other processes that follow yung pito at below design coordination will work correctly. Service level management is setting up your SLAs. Our IT department will commit that every severity 1, critical, priority 1 tickets, we will finish them or we will solve them in 4 hours. Tama ba? Priority 1 ba yung tawag? Anong tawag? Sorry, critical tickets yung sumabog yung server. Anong tawag? Severity 1? Or basta, sige, hindi siya ganun. Service level management allows you to classify ano yung severity ng impact at ano yung priority ng particular tickets na nire-raise. Just because merong hindi nakaalala ng password, how critical is that versus kung si USEC yung hindi nakaalala ng password. May yung mga ganon, ba? Or isang tao lang hindi nakaprint, magpiprint pa siya nung something, nung kanyang biodata, I guess, versus you have to print a report that you have to distribute to cabinet meeting in the next 30 minutes. Diba? In terms of priority, severity, criticality, you have to be able to tell which of your services are in what particular category. And it's aligning, and this is the most challenging that I find when I support organizations is, kaya bang i-commit yung 4 hours, for example, masasolve siya in 4 hours? Kaya ko bang i-commit na masasolve siya in 8 hours? Diba? When I worked in PNG before, meron silang SLA na pag hindi naka-ship out yung mga sabon, halimbawa yung mga Tide Safeguard, kasi may issue dun sa distribution dock, yung niliload siya sa truck palabas na ng planta, 1 hour lang yung kanyang resolution time. So, ano man yung IT issue, has to be done in an hour. Yes?
Ma'am, comment lang po. I think, ma'am, the categorization of the criticality of the incident is more on the incident management. And service level management is basically how do you intend to deliver the service to your client. Yeah.
So, yung term na service levels, parang what will people expect, di ba?
Parang how will you deliver the service? The infrastructure needed to deliver this service, the money, basically the escalation, parang ganun yata, ma'am.
So, correct. Yung escalation processes, nakasulat doon. Kailan, hindi naman pwede na every time yung head ng IT department, just because may issue, tatawagin siya agad. Hindi naman ganun, di ba? Dapat may chain of command na pina-follow. And that's part of what you design sa service level management. It's setting the expectations na this is the service you're going to expect. Okay. Service catalog management is a cascade from service portfolio. So ito na yung lista kung ano yung kailangan kasama sa services na ilista. So this will contain the services you offer now, yung mga ni-retire na services. IT services that you used to do before but don't do anymore. So for example, meron kayong dinecommission na mainframe. Dati, service nyo yun. Ngayon, hindi na siya ino-offer kasi nag-SAP na kayo, for example. Okay. Future services. Example, kung meron ng service that's called internet, I guess, internet everywhere, buong Pilipinas, which is, I think, one in the PDP. Pag meron na nun, that's a future service pipeline. Nakalista na siya dapat as under the catalog din, pero pipeline. Para clear na, these are forthcoming services as well. Availability and capacity, meaning, kaya ba i-support ang 10 million Filipinos using that free internet? Or, yung ganon, diba? And availability, do you want it available 24/7? So, I saw there were people from CAB here. Ano ba? Civil Aeronautics Board? Ay, Civil Aeronautics ba? Meron akong nakita nung the other day, nandito daw sila. Ayun. So, the question is, for example, diba, how available do your systems have to be? Lalo na, example, yung nagta-traffic management system sa ano. Diba, do you need it 24/7 or do you need it 8x5? Pagka alas 5, off na natin. Bahala na yung mga aeroplano mag-landing mag-isa. Diba? So, ay, sorry ka pala. Ay, iba pala yun. Thank you. Okay. Good to know. Alright. In terms of security management, which accesses are going to be allowed for who? Hindi pwede na lahat may root access halimbawa sa payroll. It doesn't work that way, diba? So, there has to be that direction. Supplier management, vendors. contracts updated, you know exactly how certified they are, you know what they can provide at what cost and so on. And ready on in preparation for delivering the service. SCM is Service Continuity Management. What will you do pag nagka-disaster? How will you be able to recover the IT service? It begins with a business impact analysis. Dapat, hawak kamay nyo yung business dito kasi sila yung may impact and our systems have to follow. Whether you're gonna put in something manual or you're gonna put in set up another server in the alternate data center that you have, the point is SCM also has to be designed. Okay? Alright. So, that was all about just designing. Wala pa tayong ine-execute. Kumbaga dun sa bahay, drawing pa lang lahat yan ni architect, kilala ko na kaninong hardware ako bibili ng kahoy, nung semento, nung pako, and so on. At kung sinong gagawa. Transition is, again, that great communication that you have to do to go through change and the rest of these. What is the point? It's when you put in something in production, sana may chain of approvals, both on the business and the IT side. The last thing you want is when you go prod, may change, sasabihin nung business, hindi ko naman alam yan. Diba? That's the worst thing. Or ayoko yan, balik mo. Diba? That's the worst thing you want to have in IT. And then, service asset and configuration management. So do you guys maintain essentially the inventory of all IT components that you have at work? Aside from yung desktop at printer. So lahat ng backup tape, alam nyo by number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Lahat ng servers and so on. Okay. The next level up to that, and that is what SACM is about. Pag nag-fail yung isang component, do you know which systems are immediately impacted? Do you know which users are impacted? Do you know which vendors to contact? Do you know what's the quick fix and what are you supposed to tell and so on? Okay, mukhang sa CHED, ready sila. Ay.
Actually, we're updating.
Ay, great. Ay, okay. Madali ba siya, ma'am? Hindi siya madali. Okay, thank you. So, it's not easy. Imagine every IT component. Think of a jigsaw puzzle na kailangan i-document mo lahat, sinong nakakabit sa alin. At pag tinanggal mo yung part na yon, alin yung masisira, alin yung magkakabutas na iba. So, lahat yon is also under here. And a lot of organizations have a hard time doing this. Okay? Challenging siya. Kasi nga naman, hindi lang siya yung iba-barcode mo lahat. It's even the software, the licenses, when are they going to expire, which vendor are you supposed to get them from, what is the PO number you bought it with, and so on. Lahat yan nandyan. Okay? So medyo madugo mag-transition. Kala ko today, old system, tomorrow, new system. Hindi siya ganon. It's a whole lot of a process. Okay? When you get the change done, you want to validate and test and do this with the business. You want to evaluate that it will finally work in a production-like QA environment. And then you schedule when you're going to do the changes and then deploy them. So, ang ideal is walang change na ura-urada. Diba? Diba? It takes a while to understand na sana yung change, hindi siya biglang change. Kasi lahat ng tao nagugulantang. And as Jujan said earlier this morning, diba? Medyo mabilis mag-react yung mga tao pag biglang may nagbago. As opposed to making it a regular kind of change package that happens. Okay? So, kunyari, nalagay nyo na sa production yung services. You are already offering eGov, the portal. NBI is already offering, you can check your status of your NBI clearance online, and so on. Okay, ito na yung pang-araw-araw na ginagawa nating lahat, or most of us who do IT support, and I do that. Okay? So, incident, problem, access, event, test fulfillment. So, that's 5 processes and 4 functions. Medyo special yung 4 functions kasi it's essentially how you would organize your support teams. Okay? Okay. So, I'll do the easier parts. Access management is day-to-day when people ask, can I have access to SAP and I want to be able to change code? Or can I have access to Microsoft BI, and I want to be able to SQL on my own on the database level. So it's controlling and granting those accesses. Event management is for, what you monitor in the background jobs. Pag nag-fail, it will trigger an alarm, and therefore, okay, then the whole ticketing thing happens. Request fulfillment, can I have a new software installed in my laptop or PC? Can I have a new printer added in our department? So, yung mga ganong requests, they're part of your service operation. And why am I pointing out all these common things that happen every day? Because ang intent ng ITIL is to tell you there are some best practices on how you will be able to put the correct process in place para hindi na mangyayari yung, and don't know if it happened to you, but it happens to me like several times, dating-dati pa na, alam mo yung lalapit na lang siya sa desk mo, tapos busy ka kasi may ginagawa ka, tapos sasabihin, pakiayos naman, gusto ko ng bagong report or something. And then you're not sure na what to do, and then you're reactive na, and so on. So, these, in service operations, it will allow you to put some order into it para na ma-manage yung gusto nung users para hindi ura-urada, walang nagugulat, at aligned yung expectation kung gaano ka kabilis mag-respond. Incident and problem management is essentially, they're kind of like tag team of one another. Example, sino nagpaputok, no, not this year, sino nagpaputok in the past years pag New Year? Wala? Uy, ang bait naman natin lahat. Hindi, yung mga magsusumbong past years hindi nitong January, nung past years. Nung hindi pa siya bawal. Okay, so meron, diba? Tapos diba mapapanood nyo sa TV, yung papakita ni Noli De Castro, lahat ng nag-iiyakang bata, tapos kulang-kulang na yung mga, whatever, may mga nawawalang pieces na, diba? So, here's my analogy for incident and problem management, because technically they're not the same. If you ask outside, they kind of think it's the same stuff. So, ang gagawin mo, lagyan mo ng band-aid, hugasan mo, tapos lagay sa plastic na may ice. Yun yung sinasabi nila, di ba? Para hindi, para mabalik mo pa. Ba? So, that's incident management because it's a triage. Kumbaga, band-aid lang. Yung problem management, yun na yung pagpunta mo sa ospital, tapos tatahiin na ng doktor, tapos doktor na yung mag-aayos at magkakabit ulit ng kamay. So, there's that difference. Why? Think of it from a business perspective. Your service is there to create value and to address the business need. As long as ma-address yung business need, no matter how hard you are working behind the scene, nagkataon, merong incident, di ba? And therefore, to keep the business running, lalagyan mo ng band-aid, aalsa mo yung something, di ba? But just to keep it running, while you will find the more permanent solution, which is what problem management is about. Okay? So there's that distinction. Ideally, sana bawat incident fixed is permanent para wala ng problem management. Pero merong incident cases na paano kung kailangan mo ng bagong server para maayos siya permanently. You can't do that in 4 hours. Medyo mahirap yun. So, you'd rather lagyan mo ng band-aid, manual process or something, and then, di ba, problem management will handle what the more permanent solution in tandem with the others. Okay? So, functions in IT, may IT operations management, may application management, may technology management, may service desk. Is this similar to how the functions are organized today sa IT support? Yes. DND. Ay, okay. Yay. Okay, so pag may issue tayo sa IT, okay na sa DND. Ganyan na doon. Best practice. Okay? So, how long did you guys take to get to this structure? Yung kompleto na siya. Takes a while. It takes a while, lalo na sa users. Kaya importante yung change management ng org. Dati kaya kitang tawagan, pakiayos. Ngayon, I have to call this call center, help desk. They'll log the ticket. They'll tell you, ma'am, we'll get back to you, and so on. So medyo may org change management. But the intent, remember, is it helps prioritize which business needs we are addressing. Okay? Hey, think about it. Naka-26 na ba tayo? Diba? Lastly, continual service improvement. Meron siyang sinasabing 7-step process. Hindi yan kasama sa bilang ng 26. What is it? It's essentially going back to what are the business needs that you're addressing, getting the data to assess and measure, are you still meeting those, and is there room for improvement? And if there is, ulitin natin yung design, yung transition, yung operation, para mag-level up yung service. Okay? So yun lang yung sinasabi nung 7 steps. Sinabi ko lang in 7 sentences. Pero yun din yung gagawin nun. Okay? So, this cycle continues and continues for every service that you are providing. Okay? Alright. Questions before I move to the quiz. Hindi, joke. Okay pa? Bakit 26? 26 yan. Binilang ko na. Sabi nung ITIL, binilang ko na yan, 26 yan. Okay. Alright, so this is what you have on your deck, as a handout. So lahat ng dinaanan ko, and hopefully the process as I talk you through it, kinda match what I was explaining earlier to this one. What they call IT project management also falls under service transition, which is what Pabs talked about. To be able to architect, based on business needs, architectural needs, and so on, the way Francis said it, it's also incorporated there as you build your services. So, ito yung for me, medyo overwhelming siya. But this is the total picture of how, ideally, if you want to put in your total ITIL best practices, this is more or less where you will be at. So just to check, and I'm hoping na at least one of these yellow boxes ginagawa in every IT department sa agencies, one way or another. I hope, tama ba? Sino yung 0 talaga? Shocks. Papuntahin na natin si Pabs. Ay, sino yung wala talaga yung, sana naman. Oo. One way or another, di ba? Chine-check nyo naman kung busy o hindi, proactively. Meron namang approval more or less bago kayo maglagay sa prod and so on. Ideally, ganun siya. Di ba? Nothing new. It's just the best practices again, and hopefully they are common sense in the sense na kahit mahirap siyang gawin, but it made sense to do. Okay? Alright. Now, the question is, wow, 26 processes. Do I need 26 new people to be able to do it? Tama ba, DND? You did? Okay. So, it's not about you need to hire a whole bunch of people to do it. Because at the end of the day, each one of us will have to live through this process anyway. Live and breathe ITIL, kumbaga, especially if we provide IT service. Okay, so how do you want to read? Maliit. Sorry, medyo maliit yung font. Nababasa ba siya sa likod? Sorry. Okay. So, talking about project management, service operation, service transition, and strategy and design, and the various roles. Whether you're talking about the service desk, technician, the service desk manager, security analyst, hardware support, and so on. Kaya hindi sila nakapatong na one on top of the other. Medyo precariously silang nakaganon. Kasi sa taas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is talking about the skill level. Okay? So, those who are managers here, or those who work in HR, or at least, work administration, think about career movements or career positions that can come into play because you have an ITIL following, or more or less an ITIL adoption kind of organization. Okay? So this is a best practice. Again, hindi sinasabi kailangan sundan. You will make it as best how you have it. Pero at least this is a guide na more or less some of the roles hindi pwede the same person gagawa. Example, yung IT project manager, hopefully, hindi siya yung inyong IT change manager. Hopefully, hindi siya ganun kasi medyo conflict, di ba? Di lahat ng change, pasok agad sa prod, di ba? So, hopefully, hindi ganun. You just need to figure that some of these roles, some people can do a lot. Some of these roles, consider also a delineation para may check and balance even inside IT. Okay? Oh, okay. All right. So let's talk about, so we talked about what are these best practices, how we can put them into play, why they look so familiar, and maybe you are doing some of them. But the question is, after you do all of that, do you add value? Does your business appreciate the value that you give as IT? Diba? Yung business value, is it there? Okay? So, here's my example. Here's a recent example of a value. In 2014, there was a Philippine government agency, it's a department, na yung kanyang ICT budget ay 115 million pesos annual isa lang, noong 2014. So, in my mind, medyo malaki yun, diba? Tama ba? Or maliit siya for you guys? Okay? Pero pag nanalo ako sa loto, tuwang-tuwa na ako sa 115 million, diba? Pero if you think about your IT department, and this is the budget you get for the year, against the entire budget of that department, siya yung white line dyan. The rest of the blue, non-IT budget. So imagine, gaano ka kaliit nung sa IT. Diba? And this happened in 2014. So do the math, it's about 0.34% lang siya ng total budget. So that is saying, diba, there has to be some work that needs to get done to establish what business value exactly do they think IT is giving, diba? And what exactly are they thinking the portfolio of services are such that naisip nila, hindi, 115 million lang kayo. Diba? So again, I talked about some of the best practices earlier so that you get your data to show you should be more than 115 million, or kung 115 million lang talaga, then the question is, okay, then let's start looking for the money elsewhere. And you need the help now of, well, the head of the department or head of the department for that, or DBM. Okay. Some Gartner, IDC, a lot of these industry analysts, one of the benchmark numbers is normally how much dollars you spend on IT per employee. Hindi per IT employee, per employee sa buong company. And the comparison is against other government agencies, IT companies, telco companies, construction companies, and that particular department that I talked about. So, 13,600 pesos per year lang yung IT spend nila per employee. As opposed to some who reach, like telco, they spend 800,000 IT money budget for every employee. So how does that work out? So essentially, how many employees do you have and how big is your IT budget? Diba? Do you spend more na parang, hindi, okay lang na x86 yung desktop mo, wag na lang diba? Wag na mag-mouse, tapos mag-freeware na lang tayo and all of that, diba? Or, you go all out and make sure they can do the business support function properly, they can provide the right value. Okay, so it's a question of, does the business recognize your value and are you able to show them what value exactly you provide? And hopefully, pareho kayo ng iniisip. Kasi kung hindi, then there has to be that dialogue that has to happen. Alright. When you talk of companies outside, ito yung value na pinag-usapan. So, kanina pinag-usapan yung portfolio of stocks. Tama? Alright. So, for those who have stocks in Globe, in whatever, any of the companies in the stock exchange. Sige, sino may stock sa Now? Now Telecom. Now. Okay. Anyway, my point is, when you hold stocks, you wanna make sure na may cash flow, may profit, at lahat yon positibo. Sorry? Okay. I think that's much better. Oo. Nabasa ko yan. Congratulations pala sa lahat ng Pag-ibig members, di ba? May dividend. Okay, kagabi sa news. Anyway. So, revenue, margin, and assets, that's how it builds up to providing value to the shareholder. Okay. Nag-usap lang tayo ng pera, na-excite tayo lahat. Bakit? Okay? Alright. The question is, what do you tell your business in terms of how you provide value? How do you say it? Diba? How are you able to express it to them para naman, diba, credible at kapani-paniwala yung sinasabi natin about providing value? Okay? Sorry? Alright. In ITSM, diba, biglang engineers at lahat ng nag-logic classes ng college, eto na siya. Okay? So, medyo magulo. Okay lang yan. At the end of the day, if you are able to say that the service you provided has utility and warranty, then ITIL is saying you provide value or you create value or you deliver value. So, ano ibig sabihin ng utility? Hindi to tubig, kuryente at this point. Utility is, it is fit for purpose. Medyo mahina yung Tagalog ko. Akma sa... akma sa pangailangan, akma sa paggamit or something. But the point is, di ba, if you create there is a business need that you're able to support and it's fit for the purpose that you created it, okay. But is it available enough? Is the capacity enough? Is it continuous enough o araw-araw, every 30 minutes nagbe-breakdown siya? Parang train, legit. Di ba? Or, is it secure enough for that matter? Madali ba siya ma-hack? Di ba? And if you fail any of that, kasi and siya, kailangan and, then wala na. Hindi na fit for use. But, if you meet all of these, you are fit for use, you're fit for purpose, di ba? Then, you meet the business need and you deliver value. Okay? So, parang IT terms yung nasa kaliwa, but if you think about it, when you get here, you're saying, these are now your business needs, and therefore you're telling the business, there is value that is being provided. Okay? So, that is how ITIL wants us to think about whether the service you provide has value. Okay? And pwedeng mag-fail dito banda, then it's saying you have to work on that particular service a little bit more. Konti pang improvement. I talk about some ITIL best practices. Okay. I'll talk about some ITIL best practices a little bit more in a practical manner. But before that, I'd like you to turn to whoever is beside you in pairs or in groups. I'd like to ask, out of all those 26 that we talked about, which one do you think share naman, yung sa katabi, in your department, which one you think you are doing best already? And which one you think you urgently need? Ibig sabihin, wala pa siya dun. And then after that, I'd like, one or two people to share. Because what if someone has done it really well and the other is just about to start? Okay? So, let's do that for about 2-3 minutes each person. So could you please turn to whoever is katabi and talk about it? Again, what is, out of the 26, what is best and what you need urgently? And then let's talk about it. It's here. Again, I'm sure my best practice dyan. I'm so excited to hear what are the best ones. And those who need help, then others are perfectly willing to help. For my question, I'm here.
O, ikaw na. Partner mo na sa Gmail. Hindi ka lang partner.
Alright, so hopefully nagsalita na yung isa at yung isa naman yung nag-share ngayon. At hopefully hindi kayo pareho nung sinabi para, di ba, may matutunan naman tayong iba from the other agencies or departments.
Okay. May naisip na tayo. Oh, matalang buhay ba yun? 10 years of contract. Okay lang? Or wala pa? Okay.
Remember when you talk about service, it can be as email. That's an entire service already on its own. Or an ego portal is a service on its own, di ba? How SSS does that my SSS, that's a service on its own. Basta may end user na business, hindi yung pang IT. So if your work is more in hardware, backup, ganyan, then consider ano yung system on top of it, and maybe it's the HR system, in which case it's the payroll system. So that is a service altogether, di ba? So think about it that way na kung nandun na yung best practices ninyo. In one. Alright. Mukhang maraming best practices. Could we have a pair come up and talk about what they discussed? Or hindi pa tapos? Volunteers, please. Sige, kundi si Jason na daw magpipili. At Yung hindi daw pinaka-okay sumayaw ng dying inside, yun daw yung magsasalita. Any volunteers? At least to share what you guys talked about. Best practice ng ITIL na success story ninyo at which one you need most urgently. O, D&D na. Mukhang kanina pa. Raymond. Ayan. So, can you say your name and the agency? And then the partner also.
Good afternoon, Sir Ma'am.
Raymond.
Captain Carbonell from
Guys.
DND.
Okay.
Share ko lang yung best practices po namin sa service desk. Meron po kaming tinatawag na help pag may nangyari po sa mga ICT equipment ng kada offices po. So, meron po kaming designated na operator para sagutin yung telepono, i-identify kung ano yung problem, then ipapasa sa tamang skilled worker namin. For example po, kung sa web, meron po nakatutok sa web para mag-update po ng web page. Meron din pong nakatutok para sa troubleshooting, and meron din po sa maintenance po na equipment. Ang purpose po nun is para hindi magkagulo-gulo yung tasking ng mga personnel. Yan lang po yung ano namin, ma-share.
Okay. Thank you, D&D. So it's something to think about, and if it's something that, meron ba nagsabi na hindi yung incident management nila is a critical issue or critical need right now? Uy, okay. Lahat merong incident management. Okay. Si Ronald.
Magandang hapon po. I don't think I'm the best person to discuss this matter because it is handled by Sir Dito Kada for Social Housing Finance Corporation.
Sige.
Sir
Pwede ba
Dito.
daw, sir?
I'm sorry.
Mukhang call a friend doon na. Okay, sige.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lito Kada from Social Housing Finance Corporation, ma'am. Actually, sa amin yung help desk namin, ay okay na kasi ang ginagawa namin is Spicework. Oo. So, dun, Spicework, ma'am, open source. So, pag yung nagkuhan yung mga end user, may problema sa printer, sa desktop, they only do sa network, tapos pupuntahan ng technical namin. Pagkatapos nun, kung tapos na, i-close na yung ticket, ma'am. Yun.
Correct.
Nice.
Wait.
Sa amin, ma'am.
Good practice naman pala eh. Akala ko, hindi siya good practice. Sir, hindi pa daw good enough. Alright. Yes, ma'am.
Pati po yung partner niyo magsasalita. Kayong dalawa.
Okay. Good afternoon. In the case of BIR, meron kaming office in charge to handle...
Excuse us. Sobrang intense, I know. Sarap ng sharing. Kinig tayo sa BIR. Importante to. Pera
Okay.
pinag-usapan.
In the case of BIR, we're talking about service desk or help desk. In the BIR, nagtransition na kami from help desk to service desk. In the implementation of our IT system, nung una, we were saddled with so many problems. And yung mga help desk personnel namin, hindi sila capable of answering or solving the issue. Kaya ang nangyayari, ang tawag ng mga users namin, helpless. Hindi.
Naranasan ko rin yan. Okay.
So, nag-retrain and everything. We beefed up our personnel and we transitioned to service desk to align ourselves with the ITIL service desk. And we also changed the tools that we're using. We're now using the center point solution provided to us by Point West. And in this new tool, may capability yung mga users to log their issues. No? And the service desk personnel would review and classify yung issues na yon. Classify and escalate it to the proper problem resolution group. And then the user who logged the issue also has this capability of monitoring kung nakanino. And EH yung issue na yon. And management can summarize kung gaano katagal na, and we can call up those PRG na natutulog yung issue.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Diba? So, it sounds like a success story as well, from helpless desk to super service desk. BIR yon. So, pwede na tayo tumawag sa BIR kung may issue on April 15. Yes.
Good afternoon po. Mark po from DFA. So, sa case naman po namin, yung sa programming team po namin, nag-create po sila dati, ganun din, tumatawag lang. Since masyado maraming volume ng call, hindi kagad namin nare-respond. Nung pumasok po yung ISO 9000 para sa QMS namin, nag-shift po kami to e-services. Naka-web-based na po siya. Login lang po yung user. Tapos, papasok na rin po kung kanino expertise from networking to web to basic and everything po. And then, may oras po. Tapos, meron din pong satisfied or not satisfied for QMS for ISO po. And then, from transition planning support, nasa carpentry na po kami ng data center namin at ng DR namin sa province.
Nice. So, yung ITSCM, Service Continuity Management, na plano na. Okay. Alright. So, it's good, di ba? Incident management is the one that people really address first. Why? Kasi yun yung first point of contact. It's just like how you call Globe or Smart, may problema yung load, nabawasan yung prepaid ko, whatever. Same thing, di ba? You want to call and make sure they fix it. So imagine, that's also how the public feels when they access our services. And it's good that at least, di ba, business-wise, we kept the priority straight on who is the most important business need. And in this case, yung nangangailangan, yung business. Okay? Any examples of what you critically need based on when we talked about it? Anyone want to at least cite something? Kasi what if another department actually did it well? Meron bang yes?
Magandang hapon, si Ed Labaco from PCUP, Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor.
Okay.
So, sa agency namin, Urban Poor, talagang poor yung budget namin regarding sa IT. Actually, kake-create, we insisted na magkaroon kami ng IT unit. It is not division. So, meron kaming tao na wala kaming IT plantilla, so puro designated lang. So, working talaga na multifunction ang bawat isa. We have 2 regular and then 3 ang mga job orders. And we have yung, nag-hire kami ng graphics artist na merong IT knowledge din sa pagiging technician. So kapag nagde-design siya and then merong call through phone na kailangan ng services, so we have to send itong aming graphics artist with dala-dala ang kanyang radyo. So may mga radio kami sa office. And then kapag tinotroubleshoot niya and then medyo kaya naman niya, sir, okay na po. Pero pag may problem, tatawag, sir, ano po kayang gano'n? Kasi ganito yung problem niya. So, i-dictate namin kung paano yung magagawin. Kapag hindi kaya na ng tao, then it's about time na mag-send ako yung talagang yung technician namin at saka web designer naman. So, talagang multifunction ng bawat isa. And then siya yung magre-resolve naman. Pag hindi na, yung kami na yung head at saka assistant head naman yung talagang mag-ano. At team effort ang ginagawa namin. Talaga ang motto namin kasi doon is yung kapag merong may isang trouble, kailangan we do it as team. So, as a team, talagang nare-resolve naman siya, pero we really need yung itong ganitong mga yung mga ganitong system, mga services at saka yung talagang approach na for talaga magandang services.
All right, Urban Poor. Okay. So, thank you, sir. And I think I heard from Defense, I heard from BIR, and mukhang at some point a lot of us have been part of kulang ng budget story, and it's a question of Pinoy, di ba? How can you do more with less kind of thing? And at some point, if you have, sir, kung you have enough data already, then hopefully, something you can show na hindi na talaga kayang pigain yung graphics artist, di ba? Thank you. All right. So thank you everyone for that sharing of info. Some best practices I want to talk about. Financial management. Again, money. If you have the data and and the peso signs behind you to show na it's really costing you this much effort, and sir, yung sweldo nyo dapat hindi na sana ikaw yung gumagawa nung paki-reset ang password kind of issues. Hindi na, di ba? Medyo magastos na pagbabayad yon kung yun lang yung gagawin. So hopefully, you're able to account and you know how much you're charging more or less. It's not saying you're gonna be physically charging them because I'm not sure if government is already there na i-charge na yung department sa ginastos ninyo sa kanila. It's a good concept, diba? Oh, tawag ng tawag yung finance department, and then keeps us late and so on and so on. Pero walang bayad. But if you're able to tell them we're charging you per call, diba? Baka sakali, it will get us somewhere. But until that day happens, it's always good to have the data in mind. Kasi you also have to account anyway for your budget. Might as well know how much are your services costing. Remember, it's benchmarking against industry at some point. Diba? Do more with less will hurt if you don't make the effort also to check if you are cost efficient and for that matter, competitively positioned against how much it costs kung kunin na lang sa labas from a vendor. Think about it that way. Scorecards. Do you publish scorecards? Lalo na yung may mga help desk, service desk in place. Yung scorecards. So do you publish it and say, for the month of, For the month of February 2018, we had 100 tickets, priority 1, 2, 3, 4, divided into 25, 50, 5, and 20. Ganon. And then, we solved 80% of them on time. There were 5 unplanned critical changes and so on. So that kind of reporting, does it come out? Does your department head get it? Does your IT manager get it? Do they see that? Okay. Second, it's talking to the client now and the business. Do they see that they actually logged 100 tickets that month, which is, and so on. It's like a monthly report or a scorecard. Kasi, hindi lang siya monthly na, oh, ito sa July. Ano na nga yung nangyari noong August, diba? So this one, you are able to show it month by month. And medyo ano siya eh, it's like IT putting yourself out there na this is how I performed as an IT organization. So on the one hand, kahit ako, pag nakita tayo ng pula na score, ay bagsak, diba? Parang, ay, diba? Pero, and the business will say, oh, bakit yan pula? Diba normally ganon? But think of it as you are telling them that these are the services I'm giving you with the budget that was allocated. And this is how we are doing. And based on the SLA that we aligned, we will solve 90% of your tickets on time, or we met all of them. So, diba? So, ito yung, it's a reinforcement of all the things, of all the services that you said, you will be able to do. Okay? Plus, as Pad said earlier, mag-angat ka naman ng sariling bangko once in a while to show that, hey, we are consistently green or we are trending upwards. You can also use this as a tool to ask for help. Diba? Might as well ask. Kung tanggihan, di okay, but you tell them what are the risks against it. But, kung ibigay, kasi you ask for an extra plantilla to be able to address an IT department need, then good for you, diba? It's because of the data you're showing. Hindi to kailangan yung mga 5-page reports. What I find, lalo na ngayon, pwede na mag-share drive, pwede na mag-Google Sheets, and all of that. Madali na yung pag-track. Lalo na, like, kung may system na sila, like, what point was put in for you or what you use for your service desk in Beam. Engineering availability, ito yung naku-down na naman, di ba? Yun yung mga ganun na maririnig mo. And you have to, especially those who are doing the architecture and planning, it's not just about designing because it has all the bells and whistles. Think about, again, the users, what exactly is the business need? How reliable is it? How maintainable? And how serviceable? Some best practices, you might want to think about high availability. So, yung biglang switch over, hindi halata na nag-down. Very expensive, but wow siya pagka ganon. And think about, if your business asks for that, you'd better be very clear with them, what exactly is it for? Diba? Di naman, for example, email, at least to my mind, it's not a high, it shouldn't be a high availability. Diba? Unless may nagtatrabaho 24 hours a day. Diba? Hindi naman ganun yung expectation. Fault tolerance, pag may nangyari dun sa system, does it still work? Will it still recover a bit? Will it stumble, but will it get up and keep on running? Okay? Continuous operation, itong last two, medyo ultimate. Sino yung nakaranas ng AS400 system? Yeah. Or AS400, if people heard of the AS400, wag na tayo, mag-aminan na tayo, hindi naman ako magbibilang ng edad eh. AS400 is the workhorse. Yun yung tawag nila sa industry. Why? To just keep on running and very, very stable. Okay? So think about it. I remember the AS400 kasi everyone who has used it, has operated, ang sinasabi talaga, it's solid. And in terms of continuous operation, minsan, imagine a zero planned downtime for your system. And continuous availability means walang planned, wala ring unplanned. 100%, it just runs and runs and runs. O, diba? Parang Energizer Bunny, ganun. It just runs and keeps on going. So, these are some of the things that you might want to think about. Are these what your business really needs? And if they are, think about what it will cost and tell them and do that dialogue. So at the end of the day, you will need budget for that. Change management. Ay, ito. Just to clarify, this is the ITIL change management as opposed to org change management yung diniscuss ni Jujan kanina. Okay? So, taas ang kamay pag you see all of these happening because it's an indication na your change management process needs help. One, are there unauthorized changes happening in production? Bigla na lang ba mag-iiba yung code? Bigla na lang ba may mabuburang data sa production na hindi alam? Bigla na lang bang may email addresses na mawawala? Diba? Bigla na lang ba may susulpot na report na hindi alam na nandun na? Unauthorized changes na hindi in-approve nung dapat na-approve. Unplanned outages. System went down, no one knew, it just crashed. Ba? Low change success rate. If you put in 10 changes sabay in production, ideally, all 10 will work and the system will keep on running. Eh what if I need to back out 7 out of the 10? Then there's something wrong kasi kailangan mong i-atras yung change na ginawa and a high number of emergency changes. Ideally, sabi nila, the benchmark is about 1 super incident a year. So, yung emergency change, ideally, once or twice a year lang yan. If you did all those, at least yung design, transition, and operation correctly, more or less, isa lang yan. But if you are carrying a high number, that means stressed yung buong organization, especially IT. And then, where will you end up? Kasi ang taas-taas. So, there's something wrong sa simula pa lang. Ang sumasalo, normally, yung support team. Maawa naman tayo. There's something wrong with change management if you have a high number of those. Okay? And I'm not saying it's just IT. I'm saying there's probably other reasons why you're having those, but consider working back, again, service design, service transition. Some watch-outs, and this is related to org change management. So some people will still tell you, basta gawin mo. Some people will say, pakiko what ITIL said, basta game na yan, lagay ka agad sa prod, hindi na kailangan i-test and so on. Lack of standard changes, you know like when you go to Jollibee, tapos sasabihin lang, Sir, Jolly meal with regular Coke, tapos sasabihin mo, iced tea. Gusto ko iced tea, pwede bang, upgrade, ayun. Pwedeng palitan. Remember, what do they say? Ma'am, may dagdag 10 pesos? Ha? Sure ba? Ay, yung Jollibee sa Pioneer. But the point is, they are ready. Kumbaga, they have standard changes. They know it already na someone will ask for it. Diba? And they're ready to tell you, ma'am, libre or ma'am, may dagdag. Diba? But the point is, may ready. Hindi yung, di ba the most disappointing thing, ma'am, di pwede, or sir, sorry, parang, ha, di ba? Parang ganon. So, if you know the demand for the services you have, and you know what changes to expect, what they will be asking for, then this one should be avoided kasi it will become a regular request na lang as opposed to nagulat ka kasi bigla gusto niya ng iced tea, hindi niya lang regular Coke. So think about this in terms of change management. I think a lot of the problems in prod are caused by change management that didn't go right. And if you hit any of these, chances are mag-multiply yung issues sa production. Okay? So again, ITIL is an enabler for ISO 20000. The certification in industry for an agency is ISO. ITIL is the set of best practices. Parang kumbaga sa best friend, payo lang siya ng best friend mo sa'yo na napagdaanan ko na yan, na hashtag ko na yan dati, and all of that. And ito siya. Yun yung 26 na yun, di ba? So, here's what ITIL is about. It's very widespread, available, and it's good if you are able to talk the similar terms across agencies because you call it the same already. Pag sinabi niyang incident management, ibig sabihin nun, incident management siya, hindi siya problem management, and so on. Okay? The challenges with ITIL, I put it here because think about it that's why Francis talked about enterprise architecture, Pabs talked about TMI, COVID was also discussed by Dr. Ted the other day. And they are they help address some of the weaknesses that, or at least some of the opportunity areas of ITIL. Okay? Right. So, even if you're not actually gonna get yourself assessed by ISO, it's okay. But at least, diba, you know you're getting to that world-class standard already. Right. Overall, there are, hindi sinosolo ng ITIL yung ITSM. COVID also tried and more or less has something similar. SAP, the ERP, also has something similar. So there are a few who said, oh, we will do ITSM this way. But so far, what we've seen in the industry, more or less, ITIL is the framework that works. Gartner, the Hackett Group, IDC, Forrester, all together, they say, putting in ITIL, your total cost of ownership, back office savings, it will happen. It will not happen overnight, but it is bound to happen. Okay? Okay. So overall, as I mentioned, the last few days, andito sila, sa kaliwa, and then, think about all these other ISO standards. So if you've done ISO 20000, that means IT service management-wise, you're good. If you do ISO 27000, info security, okay? If you do, ano ba yung iba? Teka lang. If you do ISO 38500, that's IT governance. If you do 21500, as Pabs mentioned earlier, that's guide on project management. 22301 is business continuity management. So may ISO standard kung paano mag-recover ng in a disaster. So putting it all together, they all come together, whether you're talking enterprise architecting, starting it all, or you're talking about how to manage the project, or how to put it into play, into production, and deliver these services with continuous improvement. It comes together with all the best practices you've dealt with in the last couple of days. Right? So, we got this from the ICT, and hopefully, to them, they're looking at the framework piece there. And in terms of how all and across agencies, we would be able to work together. My humble request is hopefully, with this session, ITIL is able to at least introduce you to common terms so that at least a common IT language is talked within the government agencies and with your vendors. Because for sure, the brand name vendors definitely will talk this language with you. Okay? So for those who are keen on ITIL and ITSM, there is actually a Philippine forum for it. So the ITSMF Philippines, Pabs is an officer, is a member. The intent is to join, or the invitation is out there to join, especially for those practicing IT. Why? One, to network, to get to learn best practices. That little exercise we had about sharing what worked well and what doesn't, it's a good exercise to think about. And you can imagine doing it on the reality scale of others who are in practicing ITIL and ITSM in the Philippines. Okay? So, one key thing, trivia to note, DBM is actually one of the agencies that founded or helped set up ITSMF Philippines. So, sa lahat ng nagsabi, it was a budget thing for IT, then ask them, di ba, bakit nyo ko naisip yung ITSM pasukan? Di ba? So, that means to their mind, there's a standard that they want to hold us up. Kumbaga, that hopefully the budget will fit. Okay? Alright, overall, it's a suggestion. Again, makikinig ka ba sa payo ng what several agencies and government have done in their ITIL organization? Makikinig ka ba sa payo nung lahat nung tumayo in this stage for the last couple of days? And which one you will be willing to adopt in your organization? Ideally, ISO 20K is the bar, and if you really want to be assessed for it, but at least you know where you're heading towards in terms of putting in this ITIL services. Benchmark with the rest of the governments. And again, complement it with PMI, org change management, open group, better looking data, more secure websites, proper UI, and discuss. And proper ITIL management with COVID. Okay? So hopefully, with the Philippine Development Plan, ang sabi nila about ICT, it's to enable the e-governance, I think, in the Philippine Development Plan. And second, a reform in frameworks and policies. And hopefully the last 3 days is a step towards achieving that goal. And hopefully for us to provide better services to the public. So again, maraming salamat po sa service ninyo and thank you for your time.